Greetings, sailors. My name is Octodron. Recently, I've gained a fixation on a particular show from my childhood. If you've seen the thumbnail or read the title, you know the topic of this video is Littlest Pet Shop 2012. For the past few weeks, this show has grown on my brain like a moss. Now, this Hasbro show from over a decade ago is the only thing I can think about. I figured the best way to cure myself of this curse is to pass it on to you. If you aren't aware of the television masterpiece LPS 2012, the show follows a teenage girl named Blythe Baxter who can talk to animals, her job working at a pet shop, and her misadventures with a wacky group of 7 pets who stay at the store's daycare. But what if the roles were reversed? That is to say, what if the pets were the employees and the people were the pets? And that's what I'm gonna draw today. Yippee! Before we begin, I have 2 quick things to say. 1. If you were born after this show came out, this video is not for you. My content may be focused on cartoons and nostalgic properties, but is not meant for kids to watch. Number 2. I got a little bit more self-indulgent and headcanon-y than usual with this video. You can disagree with my takes on the characters. I admit some of these headcanons are a tidge out of character. But please be respectful in the comments. Thank you. Let's start with the pop star of the pet shop, Zoe Trent. For each of the pet's human versions, I did 1 full body of their casual clothes and 1 half body of their Littlest Pet Shop work uniform. For her everyday clothes, I wanted Zoe to look like a 2000s pop star like the Spice Girls or Britney Spears. I kept her original design's beret, but I put 2 ring piercings on the brim, which is something I see somewhat frequently with modern fashion. I also kept her rhinestone collar and turned it into a choker and gave her a matching bracelet. For her clothes, I wanted to go for the small shirt, big pants silhouette. I really love the combination of the cropped cami top, black bootcut jeans, and the platform boots. On her belt loop, she has a little star keychain. I wanted all of the group to have at least 1 star in their designs to connect them together. Let me know if you see them in the comments. You will get a virtual pat on the back from me. An honor. I'm a lot less happy about how her work outfit came out. The jacket I gave her is kinda ugly and throws off the whole fit. I'll probably rework her work clothes on my own time. I really like the way her makeup turned out though. For all the characters' work designs, I want them to look like they're goofing off on the job in some way. For Zoe, I like to imagine her and the point of view character are gossiping and fixing up their makeup in the bathroom. Speaking of work, let's get into her backstory in my AU. Zoe is the youngest daughter of the highly influential Trent family. Even from a young age, Zoe was a people's person. She and several other children of rich downtown city residents formed what seemed like an inseparable friend group. Things stayed this way until Zoe's last year of high school, when it was revealed that her father was the mastermind of a Ponzi scheme, and surprisingly enough, the multimillionaire faced consequences for his actions. Overnight, the Trent family went from ultra mega uber rich to just extremely rich. Zoe noticed something else changed too. Her friends, who had been by her side her whole life, seemed to be treating her differently. Her friends ignored her calls and hung out without her. One day, Zoe spotted one of her old friends while taking her daily jog. Zoe gathered up her courage and confronted her. "Why are you ignoring me?" she asked. "Aren't we friends?" The girl just stared at Zoe incredulously before sighing and answering. "Why would we want to hang out with the daughter of a con man? Do you want to bring down our reputation alongside ours? Are you really that selfish?" Zoe was speechless. Her ex-friend shook her head and left. That's when Zoe realized how fragile her veneer of friendship truly was. Zoe concluded that if she was in the situation her friends were in, she would do the same thing, and she hated it. Zoe began yearning for true connection. She realized the only way to get this was to remove herself from the upper-class society of downtown city and become a member of the working class. Ideally, Zoe would have been able to find a job in the music industry, but she wasn't that lucky. Next, she looked for jobs in makeup or beauty, but again, she wasn't able to get any interviews. Right before giving up, she decided to apply for one more job, a pet grooming position at a little pet shop. The Littlest Pet Shop, to be exact. And now it's time for a special section called Extremely Random Headcanons. This is enrichment for me, a little treat. Zoe is actually a pretty good cook. Since she lives alone and has a pretty restrictive diet, she did it out of necessity at first, but has gained a love for it. She defo has like an extremely organized Pinterest account with fashion looks and recipes. She's the only one in her friend group to be verified on multiple social media sites. She totally also has private accounts where she keeps track of what people are saying about her. Her current favorite artist, besides the ones I mentioned when talking about her design, is definitely Chaperone. I mean, look at her, Chaperone fan. She's openly bisexual, but I feel like she gets a similar treatment to Lady Gaga or other bisexual woman celebrities. Like, whenever she shows up to any Pride event, people are like, oh my god, ally icon! Which she finds very annoying. She has written many songs about liking women and men, but even that has not stopped the very supportive ally allegations. Her beret was a gift from her sister when she moved out. She always takes it off when she's grooming pets so it doesn't get dirty. Once, when it got lost, she tore up half the store looking for it. Zoe takes a lot of pride in her hair. If she hadn't taken such good care of it after all the bleaching, dyeing, and perming, she would probably be bald. I could come up with more headcanons, but that's enough for now, lest this video get to be an hour long. Here's the finished Zoe. Her casual outfit is so cute. Her work outfit, don't look at it. Ignore it. Let's take a gander at who I think was my childhood favorite, Vinnie Terrio. I think his art came out of the best. His design isn't anything special, but like, what can you do? I want his casual clothes to give off the vibe of a cool backup dancer you'd see in a dance practice video. I mean, I don't think his outfit is that cool, but I tried my best, okay? I gave him really baggy sweatpants because for some reason they make me think of lizards. Maybe I'm thinking of that Pokemon that's a lizard with pants. I also gave him a hoodie tied around his waist. It might be a bit inconvenient for dancing, but I feel like he would need it for thermoregulation purposes, because he a lizard man. I wish I made him more muscular. He looks a little twiggy for a dancer, but I'm not an expert. I also made him quite hairy. I know that some people find body hair gross, but I think it makes a fun accessory, I guess? Also, he has one of his ears pierced. For his close-up pose, he's showing off a video of him flossing that got 10 million views on TikTok for some ungodly reason. Yippee! It's lore time! Yay! Vinnie grew up in downtown city with his mom and dad in a small studio apartment. When he was 12, his parents got divorced, with custody going to his mom. He was a pretty normal kid, maybe a little dumber and worse at analyzing risk, but overall, pretty normal. One year, he did get held back a grade. After that though, he managed to be a straight D student. He was even able to make it into college. Unfortunately, the school he was accepted into had no arts program and no extracurriculars in dance. Although he couldn't imagine himself doing anything with his life besides dance, he kinda just sucked it up. That is, until he met a certain magician in a subway after class one day. This chance meeting with a stranger led him to drop out of college and pursue dancing full-time, as you do. However, this decision put a strain on his relationship with his mom. Eventually, after a lot of arguing, he moved out and began couch surfing before finally moving in with his new best friend, Sunil Nevla. When Sunil first started working at Littlest Pet Shop, Vinnie would come in every day to hang out. Eventually, Russell, the manager, got fed up and offered Vinnie an ultimatum. If Vinnie wanted to keep on distracting one of his best employees, he had to help out in the shop. Now, Vinnie's the store's resident guy who can pick up heavy objects. Well, would you look at the time? It's headcanon time! Here's a fun little statistic for you. 80% of all Littlest Pet Shop work accidents are caused in some way by Vinnie Terrio. That's what you get for making the clumsiest guy on the face of the earth carry all of your products. Luckily, no employees or customers have gotten seriously injured. Yet. In his adult life, Vinnie has visited the hospital 20 times. He's gone in for things you'd expect from a dancer like breaks, fractures, and sprains, but a few times he's gotten his stomach pumped. Vinnie loves to eat things that are not made for human consumption. Sure, this has caused some health complications, but it's also made him the best employee to ask about different brands of dog food. He also likes to eat bugs, like living bugs. He just chomps them out of the air. Strange little man. Vinnie is bisexual, but didn't know it until he was in his mid-20s. This isn't because he didn't realize or was repressing his attraction. He knew as soon as he started feeling attraction that he liked men and women. He just assumed it was the same way for everyone else in the world. Somehow, he lived 24 years of his life before Zoe explained that most people are, in fact, heterosexual. Honestly, it didn't change much about his worldview, but now he has a pride flag in his room. Good for him. As a roommate, he is surprisingly clean. Aside from a few towering stacks of CDs, Vinnie makes sure to keep the floors clean in case of any impromptu dance sessions. He still manages to trip, of course, but it's the thought that counts. He loves every single genre of music and dance, which has caused his CD collection to balloon out of control. Sunil reminds Vinnie that music streaming is a thing that exists now, but Vinnie insists that CDs have a certain vibe necessary for proper dance technique. Aside from Sunil, Pepper and Minka are his favorite people to hang out with at work. The three of them share a chaotic vibe that their coworkers can't match. Also, he and Pepper are stoners because it's funny, to me, personally. And there he is! He turned out just how I imagined him. His face is so stupid, I love him! Let's move on to Sunil Nevla, my favorite silly little mongoose. I think Sunil has the cutest original design of the main cast. Coming up with his outfit was a little difficult because after all, boys don't care about clothes. Fashion is for girls, and not macho guys like us. Oh, that's a reference, I'm not a misogynist. For his everyday outfit, I went for a casual but classy look. I think one of the few things men fashion can play around with is color and pattern. I really like the look of pure monochrome outfits, so Sunil has a full outfit of teal compared to the other characters' black and white secondary colors. I did end up giving him a gold bracelet and pendant as a treat. Moving on to his work pose, Sunil and you are flipping a coin to see who has to clean the bathroom. This was the most magician-y way to goof off during work that I could think of. As a little detail, I painted his nails matte black. Backstory. Let's go! Sunil was born and raised in India. His love of magic began when he was a little kid, when he saw an American magic show program on TV. As a child, he had no idea how these tricks were performed. After months of begging, his parents relented and bought the boy a book of magic tricks. Every night, little Sunil would put on magic shows for his family. His mom and dad were charmed by this, but they figured this would just be a phase. Unfortunately for them, his obsession continued well into his high school career. They were happy that he was so passionate about magic, but they didn't want their son to waste his potential on a job that he can't exactly live off of, at least at Sunil's skill level. So, they subtly pressured their son into pursuing a career as a doctor. Although Sunil knew that being a magician would be the thing that would make him happiest in life, he also knew that if his parents were proud of him, he would feel content enough. Sunil agreed to get an MD degree as long as he got to study abroad in America, which was a compromise his parents accepted. So, at age 18, Sunil left to get his pre-med degree in biology from Downtown City University. At some point during his education, he decided to make a little extra pocket money and keep his skills sharp by performing magic tricks in the subway. One day, Sunil met a man who seemed more enchanted with his magic than anyone else ever was. After a long day of showing off his best tricks, Sunil didn't make much money, but he did make his very first friend in downtown city. There's no way Sunil could know that the next time they'd meet, he would learn that his new friend, Vinnie, dropped out of college and ran away from home inspired by the conversation that they had. This, understandably, made Sunil feel quite guilty, so he offered him a place to stay for a while. Their definition of a while went from weeks to months to eventually years, but Sunil was glad to not be alone. After graduating from Downtown City University, Sunil wanted to get a job and save up some money before going to med school. After many applications and interviews, Sunil finally was hired by the Littlest Pet Shop, and the rest is history. Sorry for all the yapping in the last section, but let's move on to headcanons. Sunil tends to be the person who makes sure customers can find the things they need and helps things get down from high shelves. He does get jump scared a lot by customers, but he does his best to help them out. Sunil tries to make at least one relatively healthy home-cooked meal per day. When he does get food from a restaurant, he prefers to sit inside so he can fully dedicate his time to eating. He isn't a particularly talented chef, but he does make food that's edible, which is more than he can say for some of his coworkers. He really loves board games like Settlers of Catan, but none of his friends are up for the playtime or learning the rules, so he never gets to play. He has a lot of phobias, including, but not limited to... Oh my god, why did I include so many long words in this script? Globophobia, thalassophobia, myrmecophobia, amathophobia, and homophobia. Just kidding. JK, gotcha, pranked, haha. Sunil is on both the aromantic and asexual spectrums. Most of the time, he feels absolutely no romantic or sexual attraction to anyone, and is even a little romance repulsed. Every once in a blue moon, however, Sunil gets hit by the romantic attraction truck, and falls head over heels in love with some poor soul. In the future, Sunil really wants to get married and have a family of his own, so every time he develops a crush on someone, he tries his best to win them over, although he's never succeeded in doing so. Yay, yippee, it's the boy! He is very blue. Finally, we have Minka Mark, the abstract artiste. Minka is the unexpected fave of this rewatch. As a child, I think I was a little afraid of her, but as an adult, I find her very adorable and very silly. I love her. I think Minka's everyday outfit is my favorite out of all of them in this video. I want her to have like a kind of nostalgic aesthetic like Zoe did, but more cutesy. Minka is definitely in touch with her inner child. I gave her a baggy graphic t-shirt inspired by Bobby Jack and sock monkeys, layered over a striped pink and brown shirt. I also gave her ripped jorts. When I do the colors, you'll see me putting paint splotches all over her shirt, which was very fun to do. Minka seems like the type of person to have an extensive novelty earring collection, so I gave her a pair inspired by her humanitarian ones. For her work clothes, I gave her a pink long-sleeve shirt under her work clothes, alongside a blue skirt inspired by her McDonald's toy. To goof off, she's making a papier-mâché monkey figure, sitting on top of a can of cat food. I thought sculpting at work would be easier than painting, but it might be hard to pull off either one. Lore, lore, lore! Minka was raised by her paternal grandmother, Minnie, in the suburbs of downtown city since her parents were both not ready for Minka when she was born. Minnie, however, was, since she had retired a few years ago and felt lonely around the house after the death of her husband. Minnie was a very talented painter who painted beautiful landscapes of places far away from downtown city. Minka adored each and every painting her grandmother did and would spend hours entranced by them. When she was old enough, Minka tried her best to recreate her grandmother's art, but she was always disappointed by her skill level. When Minnie saw this, she gave the girl a piece of advice that would stick with her forever. What matters in painting isn't capturing things perfectly. Photos can do that anyways. What's most important is putting your feelings into every drop of paint, adding your soul into every stroke, and filling the canvas with your story. If you do that, any painting you will make will be beautiful. because you are beautiful. At that time, Minka didn't fully get it, but it did help her get out of her funk. As she grew, so did her love of painting. By the time she was a teen, Minka was recognized by her community as an amazing young artist. When Minka was accepted into the downtown School of the Arts, her father was so proud that he took her for an ice cream float, something she hadn't done in years. She had a great day with her dad, stopping by more stores than they had originally planned and getting home late. As soon as she stepped into the house, Minka knew something was wrong. She bolted straight towards her grandmother's studio, and there she found her, lying on the floor. Minnie was rushed to the emergency room, and Minka stayed in the waiting room and waited and waited and waited, until finally her dad came out with the doctor. Her grandmother was alive, but she had a stroke and it would be unlikely for her to recover the use of her right arm, and she would need to be transferred to a specialized care facility. Minka was now trapped in a tiny apartment in an unfamiliar city with her father, a man she did love, but didn't know the way she knew Minnie. Minka, losing her desire to make anything, declined her acceptance into the downtown School of Arts. After a long period of art block, Minka knew she had to get out of the house. She wandered around the city, looking at all the lights and hearing the sounds, but somehow they all felt dull to her. Tired of walking and maybe a little lost, she walked into the first store she could find, Littlest Pet Shop. There she met a very kind cashier who offered her a sandwich and a shoulder to cry on, which Minka accepted. After their meeting, the cashier, who Minka later learned was named Penny Ling, offered her to come back any time. Minka just smiled and waved. She had to get home fast because for the first time in a while, she had an idea for a painting. Ugh, I did not mean for that backstory to be so depressing, but I hope you liked it. Let's get on to the real meat and potatoes, headcanons, yippee! Minka mainly works as a cashier. Her bubbly personality makes her customers smile, unless they're running late, or if they hate retail workers for some reason. Since there's never more than 1 or 2 groups of customers in store, Minka has plenty of time to goof around. Her favorite activity is climbing up on random places in the store, and subsequently getting stuck. Most of the time, she can jump down herself, but sometimes she needs the help of one of her taller coworkers to get her down. She's undoubtedly Mrs. Twombly's favorite worker. Did I mention that Mrs. Twombly is still a human? Because she is. She's just the kind of girl who gets along well with old people. The very first person she came out to as trans was to her grandmother. Minnie accepted them with open arms, but she felt a little silly when Minnie asked her what name she wanted to go by now. She hadn't really thought about it. Her grandmother then came up with an idea. Since Minnie never really liked her full name, Minka, for herself, she offered to give it to her granddaughter, which is something she gladly accepted. Now, Minka loves it when people say her name. Minka's the reason why half the Littlest Pet Shop staff have dyed hair. Minka started by dyeing her own hair, but she had like a lot of bleach left over, since her hair is pretty naturally light blonde. First, she invited Vinnie over, who, of course, brought Sunil along with him. Sunil did not want anything to do with the bleach, but Vinnie chose to dye his whole head of hair a bright green. Still, there was way too much bleach left over, so Pepper came over and dyed her hair gray. After Pepper was done, there's still a little bit of bleach remaining. So Sunil decided to take one for the team and get the last bit used on himself. Zoe and Penny Ling get their hair done professionally, and Russell's hair is natural. Minka's a bit of a crowcore girly and loves picking up random trinkets and knickknacks from the side of the road and gifting them to her friends or using them in art. You just know her rock collection is massive. Yay! Minka's done! I've gotta say, she came out very adorable. Oof. This video is finally over. I have no idea how long this video actually is, but writing the script felt like an eternity. I won't take up too much more of your time, though. I just want to know, how do you like this style of video? I had fun making my own twist on these characters, but is it enjoyable to watch? The second part of this video, where I draw Penny Ling, Pepper, and Russell alongside a few special, secret, surprise characters, will hopefully be out sometime before October. Also, I'll be posting some bonus art I drew while making this video on my Instagram, Tumblr, and Kara, so check that out if you want to see more of my LPS content. With all that out of the way, don't forget to octo-like and subscribe. Bye bye and best fishes.